Just answering questions with WAPTech. Here we go. This is a string of comments and questions, mostly from one person. On my bike, with mine going completely to hell at one point. I had to have mine replaced on bike after just 3 weeks. Been there, done that. I had one, well, you get the idea. They replaced for free and no trouble last 3 years. What I have now is a slight wobble in pedaling. Is this from a broken O-ring? It's not usually an O-ring. The normal thing that causes the wobbling is other. What you do is you take it back to the shop and have them figure it out and replace it with a cartridge or a complete replacement. I just recommend that. If you've had 3 years of use and utility, replace it. If you ride hard like I do, it's every year or two apparently. Or as NServe says, wow, every Friday. But this time it didn't break. And I'm like, well, actually. And he's like, damn it. So, yeah. Next one. When quit me in your description box, no problem. You should provide links I had posted. Let me ask you, do you actually think such and such? If I didn't include the link you provided, I probably provided an archive.is. In order to make the link, I'm not completing a sentence here, but because it's a separate question. When I post links in a video, to make it to where you, the viewer, can copy and paste them by grabbing them and saving them, because my channel gets threatened with shutdown all the time, I have to put in a link, hit enter, and put in the other links so that there's one link per line. If the links are long drawn-out URLs, I won't have enough room in the video to store the links and the commentary I'm responding to, so I use archive.is or archive.org or whatever. It's usually IS. And it'll shrink it down. So your link was probably turned into that. Or I made a mistake and didn't post it. I will go back and look. But sometimes I don't include the link because, and I'm going to be honest about it, it won't corroborate what it says, and all it does is contradict the known facts or presumed reality we live in, and it doesn't provide anything in return for us to now discard reality or what we think it is, and then go to the other side. Come to the dark side, we have better cookies. Okay, but show me the cookies first. They don't give any evidence. Sometimes I don't include certain links because they're literally just propaganda links or they're just unsubstantiated statements. I'll do a whole video on the content sometimes. Or I will provide an archive.org or archive.is link. Even then, just so that they don't get page views and money out of it. Sometimes they do that. Other times, it's because the website pops up, shall we say malware or just porn? Sorry. Some of you don't see it because it does it later on. And sometimes it's because the link didn't work. I don't even bother including the links if they break. If I can't get an archive of it, I just don't include it because there's nothing to include. Sometimes it goes to a domain parking page. Sometimes it goes to a malware site. I don't know which one it is, so I'll have to go look. But thank you for your comment. Next. Sandy Hook, the Pulse attack, and Boston bombing, were they real? As far as I can tell, in each and every one of these cases, all of them were actually real. These wouldn't be something I would look into because they were simply incidents that happened. The Boston bombing happened in a city with a bomb squad that is notorious for getting crap completely wrong. I'm not nice about that, I will say it. The Boston bomb squad is notorious for being quite capable of overreacting and being really, really bad sometimes. The Pulse nightclub shooting has nothing to do with the people who occupied it, has nothing to do with what your opinions of them are. It actually happened. It was, and I'm going to say this, the person who shot up the Pulse nightclub was a closeted gay guy. That's it. Don't be in the closet, you might not hurt anybody. As for the Boston bombing, it was a couple of guys who just wanted to kill some people. And it was traced back to them. And you might want to look up who is and who is not alive from that. And insisting on it being a meme on the net is not relevant. What would be the advantage of a bombing in the United States except to tell people we have to fight the terrorists? What did people bring up? Gun control. The conspiracy theorists said this was about gun control and gun confiscation, because that wording got them search engine ranking. They didn't care about talking about this being, if you were going to say this was faked, it was to prop up the war on terror. As for the Pulse shooting, okay, maybe, but it was one person shooting a bunch of people It's more of an advertisement for don't be a closeted homosexual and don't allow a culture that demands it. On Sandy Hook. Really? The perpetrator for Sandy Hook murdered a relative, and again, a gun listed and or owned, acquired legally, taken, several guns actually, taken to a school, shooting little kids. This is not the kind of thing you really want to poke into and say it didn't happen. Because then everybody has to ask, why are you saying that? What is the compelling reason for this? And if you bring up gun control or I'm a contrarian or a truther, it just sounds like you just want to pick fights with people and really, really make miserable people furious with you. This is like going into New York and telling every firefighter they were all in on it. I'm okay with them slugging you in the face. It's not because you have a right. Well, I'm just asking questions. No, you have a right to. You have a right to do whatever you want to, but they have a right to be incensed with you, basically accusing them of killing a bunch of people or faking a bunch of deaths. That's a perfectly reasonable response to people like that. No, if you're just asking questions, that doesn't mean you're not picking an argument and trying to see if someone will slug you. If you're a troll, sometimes you're going to get slapped in the face. Don't be a troll that gets slapped in the face. Do it over the internet like the rest of us. But I'm lumping them in. Sandy Hook truthers, Pulse nightclub truthers, and Boston bombing truthers are all the same group. They're just trolls. They call themselves truthers. Stop associating with them, please. That video you put up of 157, I'm assuming it's the room number, and Jason Boss, I took it further. His house was foreclosed on at the same time he takes a family to Panama to start 153. Okay, I honestly am not prepared to know what this is. There's a lot more to this story. 153 is tied to Sandy Hook and Honor Network. Okay, I'll look into that, but I'm pretty sure that has nothing to do with it. Look up 3 degrees of separation. I mean it. Next, coping mechanism. You're a shill, Waptech. You deny the dead Paddock photo is not Bruce Paddock. It's because Bruce Paddock's alive and Stephen Paddock's body was found. Get some glasses. I design and make them. Here is one of your laughing crisis actor witnesses at Vegas. And you posted a link to a video or something. Look, crisis actor is a meme that's used by people who can't cope with reality. So yeah, it's a coping mechanism. You can't deal with a world where one person can make a difference. Paddock can shoot up 500 people. Some kid can show up at school and kill your kid. And some people can literally improvise a bomb and kill a bunch of people at a sporting event and not care if they go to prison or not. You live in a world that can be very dangerous, but I got to point this out. The number of people killed in these mass shootings and explosions and terrorist acts is very tiny in this country. Other countries, it's a daily occurrence, and everybody knows at least one relative that's dead from it. Because for them, terrorism is used as a way to fight a war in some of these countries. In the United States, you were extraordinarily, almost comically safe. Try to remember that. We live in a really rarefied environment. Just remember that, okay? Hey, bud, let me tell you something. You do not understand how these staged events are pulled off. You mean pull it? I mean, using crisis actors. All my work is documented. You probably think people died in Pulse and Sandy Hook. I know they did. Why would you assert that they didn't die? What is the rationale for deciding that they didn't die? Is this a defensive behavior? The CNN pics were right from the memorial site, the actual pics used, and you provided links and they were real, and it was a real thing. I actually looked that up and I couldn't find anybody making the same comparison, and I'll go look on your channel and I'll evaluate it, okay? Sorry about spelling on some of my comments. Missiles hit World Trade Center. No, they didn't. All evidence points to this. None of the evidence points to a missile strike. There's a bunch of pieces of an airplane there. Wouldn't it have been easier just to ram a plane into it and just load it with explosives like you think? Physics explains no planes at Pentagon and Seville. No. There's other crash sites like the one at Seville, and the Pentagon impact is actually very well explained because, again, pieces of the airplane were found inside of it. You'd have to assume that everybody who was at the Pentagon who knew somebody was hurt or killed would be willing to cover up the fact that it was a missile strike when they would know better. And everybody who got out of the World Trade Center, who might have been a witness to, there are witnesses who were in the World Trade Center building, who were on one of the sides, or one of the two sides, they could see the airplane hit, who saw it go in. So they're liars. I have been researching since 2003. I realize we never came across each other during this time, no problem. Why do you delete comments? You are no different than Jason such and at 153 doing that. I got to look up what you're referring to 153 here, because I'm starting to wonder what you're really referring to. Is this some special number to you? I'm sure it means something. You're just being opaque here. I don't delete comments. I don't let them post until I've reviewed them, because I do not allow people to post deflection, commentary. Watch Marge Simpson talk or deal with the Edgy and Scratchy TV show representative in an episode where he says, I'm not saying anything, I'm just going to subconsciously insert my opinions here and overwrite her opinions by continually talking over her. You're not allowed to do that on my channel. I don't allow it. And if you're doing it, I won't allow it. You're not allowed to troll people so you can get the satisfaction of triggering them, as some people call it, I call them fake conservatives, because all they do is troll people. But anyway, I don't delete the comments unless they're literally garbage. I don't let certain people post things unless they're willing to acknowledge that they have to actually tolerate a little criticism in return. And I've only actually refused to let certain people post once in a while. Here's my work on last year's Steve Stevens case in Erie. It is where I live. Please read through it. I have an extensive background researching. Okay, I'll put all these postings here, and I probably allow them to post because they're what you're asserting. Fine. Rules. I haven't actually said this before, but the rules are that if you literally say the Queen of England never was born, if you don't offer any reasoning for it, it doesn't get posted because it's off topic most of the time. However, if I'm doing a video on her being a reptilian, that would be a good in-joke. She wasn't born, she was hatched. That kind of stuff. But if you're just going to go around posting stuff to basically invite people to have an anger management moment with you, no. And if you're not, if you're claiming to have done research, I'll go ahead and review it. That'll be great. And you might have run into something. I've run into lots of people who made all sorts of assumptions that I think are crazy that really had found something. They still get mad at me because I don't let it all post. But I don't censor everything. I only cut out the parts that are garbage, like people yelling useful stuff and then inserting F words everywhere and telling people to hurt me. That gets flagged. Well, it gets removed anyway. Anyway, hope I've answered this, and I will leave links, and I'll try to find any links that I didn't get in before. I might have actually screwed up a link. Thanks for informing me of that. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that, and I hope this has been useful and productive for you as well.